So welcome everybody. This is so-called Area Nutri Talks, a webinar about water and nutrient management in rural areas. First, I wanted to say a couple of words to you about what is Area Nutri and what is EU-SPSR and why we are here today, basically. So Area Nutri is one of the policy areas of EU-SPSR, EU strategy for the Baltic Sea region. The whole strategy focus has three main objectives: save the sea, connect the region, and increase prosperity. There are 14 different policy areas, and they focus on different topics, each of them. Under save the sea, there is Nutri, that is focusing on nutrient pollution, nutrient recycling, hazards, bioeconomy, ship safe, and so on. Climate change is, and also a cooperation with neighboring non-EU countries is kind of part of the whole strategy, mainstream to each one of the policy areas. So those are themes that are important for all of them. And basically it is a EU strategy that is focused on the Baltic Sea region. And its idea is to increase cooperation and help coordinate actions so we can do stuff a bit more efficiently, and in that way try to build a well-connected and prosperous region. There are other macro-regional strategies around the Europe for Alpine region, for Danube and eastern parts of the Mediterranean. And like I mentioned, in Nutri, we are focused on nutrient emissions and nutrient recycling. And we also contribute towards implementation of HELCOM's Baltic Sea Action Plan and Regional Nutrient Recycling Strategy. We have two coordinators here in Finland, center, so-called ELY Center of Southwest Finland, and in Poland, a national water authority, state water holding Polish waters. So basically, because we are focused on helping projects and other stakeholders to cooperate, I have set up this webinar today to kind of introduce different kinds of projects around the Baltic Sea region, but also some policy developments. Our first half, before the break, we will have some presentations about basics of catchment-based water management, how it helps climate. Swedish presentation, they have a long, I think decades, or at least a decade-long history of working towards having the catchment officials and catchment work. And Estonia has interesting life projects starting, and so on. And after the second half, we will have more project presentations. And at the end, we will have a discussion, but more about it a bit later. So yeah. I think we can get started with the presentations. So Mari, if you are online, you can get started.
Thank you. And I guess you see my presentation. Yes, my name is Mari Lappalainen, and I work as a climate specialist by the ELY Center, which is the short name for the Center for Economic Development, Transport and the Environment. And it is the regional public authority in Finland which is responsible for the regional implementation and development tasks of the central government. And for example, management of rivers and lakes and wetlands and peatlands and guidance on the land use are some of the ELY Center's tasks. My task is to promote and encourage landowners as well as different authorities and councillors to look the landscape in somewhat broader scale than we are used to, namely in catchment scale. And today I have focused on how we can improve our climate efforts through catchment-based planning of water management. I think that actually all the topics we are discussing today, they have a strong connection to how we cope with the climate change. I mean, for example, the cooperation with local stakeholders is really the key towards solutions, also in the sense of climate mitigation and adaptation. As I said, I work as a climate specialist within a national climate unit of ELY Center. We are 12 persons spread all over the Finland, and everyone has a bit different expertise when it comes to, for example, agriculture or forestry or communication and financing issues, or as I have water management. The National Climate Unit has the role to coordinate and promote the implementation of the Climate Act in Finland, including adaptation and mitigation, especially in the land use sector and agriculture. And one of the main tasks, or should I say, one of the important tasks is the climate unit, is our coordinating task of catchment-based water management together with climate measures in the land use sector, as well as promoting the catchment-based planning. Petri Nissinen will introduce later on how the catchment approach is implemented in Finland as a part of policy instruments. So I have now focus on climate efforts. Something to add, so if you ever need Swedish-speaking contact, so I'm one of those speaking also Swedish. I'm living on the Swedish-speaking area in the western part of Finland in Vaasa. But when I speak about catchment areas, I mean all sizes of catchments, large with the whole river basin or small sub-catchments, and even catchments where the boundaries are defined around some target area, for example, wetland, which lies within a larger catchment. So it's quite case dependent how large area we are speaking about. However, catchment-based planning of water management should always promote collaboration among stakeholders, which then leads hopefully to a common understanding of targets and measures. And at the same time, it offers tools for mitigation and adaptation. And not to forget its potential to enhance the biodiversity and influence on the state of waters, for example. And we have also new forms of land use like solar energy and wind power. They need also to be taken into account when we want to assess the interactions between different land use forms, and it's important in the sense of effectiveness of the use of resources and impact of the water management measures. When we look at the land use and mitigation and adaptation, so we could say that most potential to maintain and increase carbon storage is on peatlands. Those are also places where we can use what we can use for retaining water. So when putting this in the so-called source to sea concept, we need to focus on keeping the land on the water on land areas, meaning mostly wetlands and peatlands, in order to prevent nutrient and suspended solid loads into water courses. I believe that you are already familiar with the idea that it is impossible to get a good status for a watercourse if loading from land areas continues. It's the source to sea approach, which refers to the idea that measures should be implemented on the land areas where the source of transported load is. We have to look at the whole picture to be able to assess the target areas and different interactions. It is also a question of being prepared to the future. I see that I have water retention mentioned also on this slide, but it is important to remember in a country like Finland, where we have earlier had most focus on draining the land areas. So we need kind of change in our mindset. As you know, water is one of the main pathways through which climate affects on us. Drainage on the agricultural areas is often necessary in Finland, as the levels of precipitation are higher than those of evapotranspiration. So we like to drain and dig ditches, but in drained land, the water also runs rapidly away, which in turn can lead drought in summertime. Water, however, it is important for profitable agriculture and forestry. And in southwest Finland, we are already experiencing drought in the scale that we have to ask who is allowed to use those limited water resources during summer and when there is a need for irrigation. One challenge is also fragmentation of private land ownership. There are all the time more partners that need to be taken into account when we are planning some water managing constructors, for example. On the map is shown the ecological, the bigger map shows the ecological status of our waters in Finland. And you can see that especially on the coast, we have still a lot to do. We have yellow and red color there. I took own slide for peatlands because they are the most important carbon storages in Finland. They cover almost 1/3 of the land area, and most of them are drained for forestry. Mostly in 1960s and 70s, and with big question is what we should do now. They are reaching a mature stage. If we do as earlier, we clear cut them, what happens to our carbon sinks? In addition to forestry, also agricultural land use has importance for our greenhouse gas emissions. And of course, through this effective draining network, we are transporting also huge amounts of organic matter away from the land areas to the waters. This figure shows only the different methods of peatland forestry. The traditional model kind of on the left-hand side and our goal on the right-hand side. It also shows the places where we need catchment-based planning. We need to consider together where we have the best places to slow down the runoff and retain it in the land areas. It is difficult for one landowner to make decision of water retention if other landowners do nothing to help. Here we are in risk assessment. We need to know what kind of risks we are dealing with in order to find the best ways to cope with them. We have different hazards which are connected to different extreme weather events. Then we have exposure for these hazards. We need to identify who is exposing and what are the most sensitive parts in the whole picture. Vulnerability is the thing which directs whether we experience adverse effects or not. But maybe the most important here is to understand that the environment is complex and we need to identify the challenges and act according to them. Even if climate change is a global issue, so the adaptation measures have to be planned on the local level. We have a large variation, for example, in precipitation patterns between regions. And at the same time, we know that proactive measures are always the most cost-effective. There we need cooperation and discussion about the needs and objectives. Important is to notice that the climate change is always somewhat unpredictable, and therefore the measures should be flexible and transformable. One question is how to increase contribution of local communities, and I'm happy to hear today in other presentations examples about that. It's not only planning that we need to do, but also implement the plans, and therefore we need also training and more competence on all levels. Behind this link, those of you who can the language, you can find a short online course for catchment-based planning. In short, we can say that water retention solves many of the climate challenges on the catchment area. Even if we know that average precipitation is increasing, so risk for drought undergrowth season is also increasing. But if we keep the water in the landscape, we have it there when we need it. We need water for growth of vegetation, and growth means that carbon is stored in biomass. And on the other hand, water prevents decomposition of organic matter, and so decreases the carbon emissions, both in the air and to the water. If you are interested, so here are some websites related to the topic. In Finland, all water-related information is gathered on the website waterinfo.fi. Also functions in Swedish vatten.fi and in Finnish vesi.fi. Information about climate change in Finland is found on the site climateguide.fi, and the website for my unit, the National Climate Unit, is found on ELY Center site. But thank you. This was kind of introduction to the topic, and I'm interested to hear about other presentations today and about examples of real implementations of catchment level work.
Thank you. Very interesting and also very clear messages. Very nicely done. There is already a question. Ainis, go ahead.
Yes, thank you for your very nice presentation. I can see that there are a lot of similarities to our approach used in Latvia towards cost effectiveness and targeted implementation. For example, I was just wondering, do you have any specific funding sources that farmers and landowners could apply to implement different kind of practices? So yeah, that's what I was curious about. I think it was not mentioned in your presentation.
No, it was. I hope Petri Nissinen tells some more about it. But we, at the moment, we have a separate funding for agricultural measures and within forestry measures. So it comes from common CAP financing from European financing, and there are, it's increasing the focus on the cooperative measures. So you get more financing if you are together with the other landowners. So it's I hope in the future we have also some instrument where we can combine forestry and agriculture, but that's not yet the situation. Thank you.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not at this point, then we can go forward. Then it would be turn for the Swedish. So Markus Hoffman, if you're online. I don't see him, so maybe he's not able to join today, but he didn't tell me either that he wouldn't be. Let's see. Maybe we go already to the Estonian presentations then. Elina Leiner and I think I have the wrong names here. There was somebody, it was changed. But Elina, if you start.
Yes, I can.
That would be good. Thank you.
Okay. Good day to everybody. My name is Elina Leiner, and I work as a project manager in Environmental Board in Republic of Estonia. And I'll start by giving a short overview of the project, LifeSip wet test, which started in January this year. And then I will move on to catchment officer role and what we have done so far. Through this wet test project, we aim to improve the status of our water bodies and protect and plan water management more effectively in the future. As you see from the screen, the status of our surface water bodies needs improvement. Although we have river basin management plans since 2010, we have not turned this trend in status. Only 52% of surface water bodies are at good status, and 74% of groundwater bodies are at good status. I think we have all the same challenges as many others, and I have listed some of them here on the screen. We know that we have not reached all involved stakeholders, and some measures due to that are not implemented. Environmental awareness is low. Clean water is too often taken for granted. We very often hear that these issues are not people's problem, but it's the country's problem, and so on. So in order to face and overcome these challenges and take a step further, Ministry of Climate in Estonia has initiated this LifeSip wet test project. Our project area covers more than half of our country's territory, and it's the lighter blue area on the screen, the left side area. As I said, Ministry of Climate is the project manager. Altogether, we have 17 partners, and we have 10 different work packages working with river basin management governance, also agriculture, melioration, hazardous substances monitoring, and many other topics. With the project, we have also initiated the role of catchment officer, or as we call it in English, a water ranger. We started our project in January, but water rangers have been with us now for 4 months. And who are they and what they do? I will describe our activities so far. We just have started, like I said, and we have nothing big come out yet, but I will describe our everyday life for you. So in this project, we have involved the experts from Tallinn University to help us reinvent the river basin management governance model. Under the guidance of our experts, we have 9 active pilot areas in work, where Water Ranger is mapping the relevant stakeholders. in order to get to know them, know what are their needs, wishes, worries, and so on, to get an idea how a water ranger can support the stakeholder. And by support, we mean how we can help with everyday environmental and water protection issues. Also give information and answer questions about project activities in pilot areas in order that we actually can implement them. Our work is quite horizontal so far. It means that water rangers are involved in every work package, activities, and dealing with all different topics, what I mentioned earlier. Altogether, we have 4 water rangers for our whole project area. So these activities with stakeholders give us valuable information on how to form community action groups and who should be members. Also, what kind of information and involvement is needed and where and when. In a longer time scale, we also want to nudge them to implement other river basin management plan measures that are needed. And also we see that these community action groups will grow and be like an advisor in the river basin management planning processes. We have initial work logic and tasks for water rangers described. But since there are many stakeholders that we have not reached before, we receive more and more feedback that gives us possibilities to discuss in order to give the water ranger right tasks and tools. Since the river basin management plan compiling process was already going through change before wet test project, also the involvement of stakeholders and public consultation was renewed. So altogether, we have very many ideas and possibilities that we have to consider. Thankfully, we have great people working with us in all these topics. And one more thing, Life Wet Test project also invests into an information system. Today we have a lot of data in many information systems and different formats. Now we are trying to build the information system which would have official and public views, but also will be a tool for river basin management planning, for water rangers work, and also for communication with stakeholders. We still have a long way to go before we can present any results here, but this will be a great help for communicating with the stakeholders and public, since all the relevant information will be accessible and visualized in a map application. So this is a short overview what we are doing, discussing, and practicing for water rangers work. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Irina. Is there any questions? Maybe not.
Of course.
Go ahead, Ernest.
Yeah. So yes, again, thanks for the very nice presentation. It's been a pleasure to see that again. We have a very lot in common also between Latvia and Estonia. We have also this integrated life good water IP project. I think you are familiar with it. If no, so then it would be very nice to know more what you are doing, and maybe you would be interesting what we are doing in Latvia, because activities seem to be exactly the same or very similar.
Okay, very good to know. Thank you.
Mats, go ahead.
Yes, hello. Thank you for this presentation. I've heard a little bit about your projects earlier. I have a question. Are there other actors functioning as advisors in other areas or water-related questions or agri or forestry-related questions that can be used? Now you're employing this on national level, so to say, or could you see being local or regionally organizations for water rangers in Estonia in the future?
Today we are discussing possibilities that our work is at first related to pilot areas, and we try to find those stakeholders that are important in these areas. It can be that there are representatives from agriculture, melioration, forestry, etc. But in the longer time period, we see that these community action groups may come and grow into these sub-river basin level action groups or advisory groups that give input to river basin management planning. So this is quite a dynamic process, I would say, and let's see how it goes. And all ideas and good thoughts are welcomed. Yeah.
Another question. Thank you for the answer. Have you thought about the scale or the numbers of water rangers or catchment officers needed? So to say, I know you're only in the pilot phase, but how many would you need to implement all the measures you want to do in Estonia?
Well, it's a good question. Yes, we have thought, but since actually we have one earlier project, this Life IP Cleanest, which already has one catchment officer also. And this was this first example for us based on what we now with this Life Wet Test have 4 more water rangers. We still have a big part of Estonia uncovered. So let's see, let's say that we need 2 more for the beginning of the work. So maybe next year I will say different numbers.
Yeah, it's a hard estimate, but it's also a discussion of, I mean, it's very important to talk about the scale that is needed for the measures to be done. So 5 water rangers won't solve the national problem or a challenge. So thank you for this. I also just together with Ines to say that it's very important that we exchange knowledge in between countries and in between projects. So I'm also grateful for this seminar.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, Elina, that I don't know if you mentioned it already, but how the catchment officers or the water rangers, how they get paid? Do they get payment through the projects that they do, or are they hired somewhere centrally, or?
these 4 water rangers are hired based on the same wet test project. Before the project, we had no new water rangers. At all together, 5 of the water rangers are paid by the project, and all of them are working on the environmental board. This is our own governmental agency.
Very interesting. So I know your project is only starting and it's a long project, so for it will be covered, but then afterwards you don't know what will happen yet. Oh.
Yes, we do not know yet, but this is also part of this reinventing this governance model. Maybe we can come up with solutions on how to get forward after the project.
Exactly. Yeah. I hope it works out.
Yes.
Is there other questions to Elina? If not, I wanted to ask, we were supposed to have, we didn't clearly define if Ragnar Vikoja has a second different presentation, it was combined with Elina's presentation.
Hello, I have different kind of presentation.
Okay, so go ahead. Good.
If it's okay, yeah, I can
It is
share.
very okay. Yes.
Yeah, but I will be talking about how we involve the stakeholders and farmers to the program.
Sounds good. Go ahead.
Can you see my screen or?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, from the beginning. So yeah, I'm representing Estonian Chamber of Agriculture and Commerce. I'm the head of forestry and rural economy there. And yeah, I'm partly involved in this wet test project as well. First, who we are and what we do. We are representing and supporting farmers, agri-businesses, and so on. And that's our main goal, to kind of support them and represent them. Our members are farmers, cooperatives, other sectoral organizations, food processing industries, forest owners, hunters, and so on. So we represent the whole kind of rural economy and activities and people working there. But our role in this project is that we coordinate one of the work packages. We are mainly dealing with farmers and producers, how to get them involved in the program, and we also host some events and. So Elina already talked about the project. Just a short overview of the work package 5 here. So we basically measure the water quality and make assumptions based on that, and how the farmers can influence the water quality in the catchment areas. So we have 3 pilot areas. First 8 of them was listed, but we selected 3 out of them. We are conducting farm-based consultations and evidence-informed production practice. The important part is also not that we are consulting them, but they are also consulting us. We are collecting information because they have the most experience about their land and the area and environment they're farming in. So that's like a two-way strategy. Here are the basic actions that are conducted in work package 5. So we measure surface water and also drainage water and different elements that we are measuring. So the main thing we are responsible is the engagement strategy, and I'm giving a short overview of the strategy we have put together to engage farmers. So we have three pilot areas, and we need around 10 farmers from each pilot area, so combined 30 farmers. And they are engaged for 4 years. So we have a 4-year action plan for them. And the plan defines the approach for involving farmers, individual cooperation agreements, and advisory support also. We need to map the needs of the farmers and worries of the farmers. So we are trying to, we probably don't have time to interview all 30 selected farmers, but at least few, the most active ones. We try to do the farm visits, see what they're dealing with, how they see the project, and how they understand the water quality issues, and what are their worries and experiences about water quality and water in general in their areas. So we will sign individual cooperation agreements, and we offer advisory support. But as I said, the farmers' own experience is also very important, and we are also collecting their experience and yes, try to kind of come up with a plan for the best practices for those areas and the lands they are farming on. The living labs, this is kind of the end result should be, like Elina already said, that it should be like a community that interacts with each other. And there are both farmers, stakeholders, other companies that are relevant to the water quality, and they're all, and of course officials, they're all working together to improve the water quality. And over the course of the project, we are organizing over 50 training and field events, and we try to reach up to 1,000 farmers. That's the 1,000 farmers is not directly related to the project, but we try to, it's kind of the overall reach that we are aiming for, to not only in Estonia, but internationally as well, as we are organizing study visits to other European countries as well. And the main goal is to share experience and establish the collaboration network to, I don't know, see the best practices from other areas, and maybe in the future we have a kind of a uniform action plan for the entire Estonian water system. How do we engage them? The chamber, we have a network of farmers. First, we try to kind of map the certain producers at each pilot area, and maybe select out a few more active ones and try to kind of establish a connection with them and try to use them to get other farmers as well in the project. The involvement process, as I said, individual consultations, 4 per year. Yes, and as I said, it's both ways. We are collecting data from them and knowledge from them, and we're trying to support them to come up with the best practices and try to understand what are they doing now, and how does it influence the water quality in their area. Again, the Living Lab collaboration network, already talked about it. The initial goal is to have like a catchment-based cooperation network, but in the end or after the project, it will be maybe bigger than just catchment-based. Again, events and seminars, study visits. We are organizing, as I said, over 50 events and seminars and try to come up with some study visits to other European countries to see their practices. As I heard, Latvia has similar projects, so maybe we can cooperate and come visit and see what you are doing. And the goal is to improve the agricultural practices and the Estonian good agricultural practices. And that's a generally accepted set of rules how to farm basically. And the idea here is to involve farmers and maybe cooperatives as well to further improve the document. To get the farmers involved, I think it's really important to kind of award them or recognize them for their work that they have been doing. So the chamber is already organizing different conferences and events throughout the year regarding all kinds of themes. So we try to kind of award those good farmers during those events. And also evaluation and feedback. So we collect feedback from the farmers and try to give it back to them as well. Tools and channels. Again, the Living Lab collaboration groups. We try to organize discussion between those groups and kind of create common communications platforms. And also involve consultants there, if possible. Farmers have access to information materials created and published by experts, and also different instructions prepared in other projects, and also the results of this project will be available to those farmers, and not only them, but the wider farmer community as well. We use local farmer groups and associations. In Estonia, we have in each county we have basically their own farmers union or association. In all the counties, they are not very active, but we can still use some of their more active members. And involve farmers in preparation of water management plans. As we know, farming has a great impact on water. So in the future, we try to involve more farmers in the preparation of those management plans, to have their experience in there as well. And finally, communication to reach a wider audience, social media and so on, to reach those 1,000 farmers we talked about earlier. That's it from my side. If any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you a lot. So if there are questions, I think Anis is preparing.
Of course. Yes, these presentations are so interesting. So I just can't be thrilled enough about this event. I could see that you are also monitoring water quality from before and after agricultural areas and from the drainage systems as well. We are doing exactly the same thing. Yes, it was in the Yes, this slide, we are doing exactly the same as part of agricultural runoff monitoring program in Latvia. And I'm wondering, will be there any possibilities to get familiar with the data and what you have monitored? Because it is sometimes good things and sometimes maybe not so good things coming from comparing. So that would be just very interesting to know what are the conditions in Latvia compared to Estonia.
Yes, I think we can share, but we have different authorities that are conducting the analysis. So yeah, we would have to kind of ask them. I think they know when and how to share them. So we per se don't have this information.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's there's no harm in kind of sharing the data and knowledge. I think that's a good practice.
Exactly, and also I think that's one of the good aspects in implementing live program projects, since they are also aiming to share the knowledge with other similar projects. So I can see that again. Kind of almost a need to meet between Latvian Live Good Water IP project and your project, because we have quite a lot of in common. And actually in October there will be an event organized in Latvia, and there will be not only presentations from the mm, uh, partners of this project, but there also will be site visits. So maybe if it is possible, I would like to share this information maybe in the chat. So maybe some of you would be interested.
Of course.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's a really good idea to exchange experiences and learn more. So please go ahead and share the events. Mats has a question.
Yes, thank you. This is Mats Johansson from the WWF Baltic program and also a presenter later in the seminar. I'm very interested in the what you foresee or have learned so far about the main success factors for getting the farmers on board and the landowners. What are their interests? And also, in the last slide, you showed that the aim is to involve the farmers in the preparation of the water management plans. And I'm really interested in what's the buy-in for the farmers. What's in it for them? How do you convince or motivate them to take part of this more of a wider scope or benefits from the water management plans?
Yeah, we haven't really started it yet to get in touch with the farmers, but I can share it after we have some experience. At the moment, we don't, but knowing them, it's going to be difficult to get all 30 farmers. I think there's few of them are probably the active ones that are participating in every project that's available. They are kind of innovative and try to find, better practices that help them. The end goal for them is probably to make more profit. So if they find some kind of a way to make more money, then they're probably more interested in participating in the project. And well, if you keep your water clean, then what's more rewarding? But it's gonna be difficult to get all of them. But yeah, we'll see. We try to But water management plans in Estonia, the farmers have been kind of involved in there as well in the past. But yeah, maybe someone from the environmental board or somewhere can answer it. Yeah.
Yeah, and just adding another piece of information that it's this involvement and working directly with the farmers is also a few ongoing projects in Sweden, also from NWWF, Nyköpingsåarnas water organization. A few of them are listening in on this meeting as well. So there are nice projects and contacts to be made also to Sweden.
Yeah, I know that I was in the United States last summer, so they have kind of similar water-related projects, and they are rewarding farmers when they implement some kind of practices. They have kind of different packages there, and it depends on how much you implement those practices, and you can get like certification for your farm. When you sell something, you can put a stamp on your product, and that says that you are participating in a water program that keeps the water clean, and kind of they have been promoting the sign or the certificate so that not the producers, but the consumers already know that. And so they are going to the store and they're just buying their product that has that stamp on. Maybe we can in the future do something similar in Europe as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Andre Senberg sent a link to the chat about a web page where all the data from the monitoring will be collected. So that will be interesting. Also, Aini sent information about the event that they have coming up. But maybe now in this point, we will go back to Markus Hoffman, who we missed earlier. And after that, we will have Kai and Petri, so that we can keep up more or less with the schedule. If you can do your presentations in more 15 minutes or something like that, would be great.
Thank you, Elsie, and hi everyone. I'm sorry I were late. I actually forgot the time difference. It's really stupid. Anyway,
No worries. Go ahead.
So I will manage in 15 minutes. That's no problem, and I will find my slides here. Is something happening on your screen?
Yeah, we can see the slides, but it's not in the presentation mode.
Yeah. So great. Thanks again for inviting me. And in my everyday work, I work at the Federation of Swedish Farmers with sustainability questions, and water and water quality management are one of those. And I've been in this organization for quite some time, for well, I won't say how long. And when I talk about the method of catchment officers, I sometimes express it as an emerging method for cleaner water. And there are some countries that have been trying this way of working for some years. And my first reference is from Great Britain. I guess that's where the word expression catchment officers started. And they have had some in Denmark for quite some years now also. And they're called Oplandskonsulter, Oplands as in catchment in Danish. And in Norway, to my understanding, there's no network for those, but there are åmen in some projects, municipality projects. And we have these lokala åtgärdssamordnare, local catchment officers in Sweden, but there are also in other countries, and I guess that's what we'll be hearing now in this conference. So in Sweden, it started as an appointment, as an assignment from the government in 2019 to the National Authority, Swedish Agency for Marine and Water. And the agency started a cooperation with the Federation of Farmers and the Swedish Board of Agriculture, and also with the 5 Swedish regional water authorities. They are implementing the EU Water Framework Directive. So the 4 of us have been cooperating closely during these 3 project years, and we have had a really nice project together. And the funding for the government was enough to employ 20 catchment officers full time, and they were deployed in the colored catchments areas you can see in the map. And some of the catchments have a focus on problems with phosphorus and erosion, and some of them have more of a problem with nitrogen leaching. And we named the project LEVA, short in Swedish, LEVA. After 3 years, agency had to report to the government what was the results of the project, and we found that the 20 persons, together with all the farmers they have been cooperating with during the 3 years, had applied for about 150 million Swedish crowns in funding for measures in their neighborhood. So 150 million Swedish crowns, that would be like 15 million euros. So if we compared how much money is spent on salary for these 20 catchment officers, we find that we have an exchange of four times. So we got really nice value for the money, and I think it's seldom that we can actually demonstrate the effectiveness of a different project, but this time it was possible. So we have been repeating this number again and again in presentations for the government and other situations, that this is the method of catchment officers is an effective way of working. And we also wrote in the report maybe something that many of us already understood from the beginning, that landowners are usually not reluctant to perform measures for clean water. They want to do that, but they need assistance. And it has been clearly demonstrated that catchment officers are a catalyst on the catchment scale. And the authority, Swedish Agency for Marine and Water Management, proposed a long-term funding of this working method. And this is just a slide of one of those 20 persons. His name is Harald. He works in the west of Sweden, and on this day he's participating in constructing a wetland that he's been a part of making the plan for. And he is actually now in 2025. He's now 6 years later. He's still working as a catchment officer. So some of those original 20 persons are still working in their area, and by now they have really developed a very close collaboration with the farmers in their neighborhood. So it's a very nice still ongoing work. Here are some photos from another one of the catchment officers, Cassandra. She works close to Stockholm, and she's also still in the same business 6 or 7 years later, and she takes nice photos and send to us in the project management project steering group, and that's very encouraging for us to see that there are actually quite a lot of ongoing things. It's not just paperwork, it's really happening. And as you can see on these pictures, there's a focus on physical measures in the landscape, re-wetting the landscape. I forgot to say that some of these slides are from a former project colleague, Anna Ek at the agency, just to make sure she gets credit for those slides. I have 2 final slides, and it's really nice to see that those 20 catchment officers are now about 50 persons employed, and they are employed in different places. Some of them are employed at the county administration board, some of them in local municipalities, kommun in Swedish, and some of them are working in the farming advisory extension services. And regardless of where they are employed, they can do excellent work. So that's also something we have learned in Sweden. They don't have to be employed in a authority or in a they can be employed anywhere if you have a nice job description. And there was a government investigation some years ago suggested that maybe for the case of Sweden, and when you look upon Sweden's commitment to the EU Water Framework Directive in the Baltic Sea Action Plan, maybe you need 80 of those catchment officers. So that's some more compared to what we have today. But of course, it's expensive, as you already understand, and maybe one of those catchment officers costs closely to maybe 1 million Swedish crowns a year if you include all the costs for salary and office and cars and whatever. So we realize by now that it's a bit too narrow to work only with eutrophication and water quality. You have to also address other water issues. And nowadays, if of course, it's climate adaptation I'm talking about, and climate adaptation and measures for decreased eutrophication could in many times actually be the same kind of work. So there is no conflict here. But we still have some development work to do in Sweden, and as a parallel to the method of catchment officers, we have a very systematic and long-term on-farm advisory service. In Swedish, it's called Greppa näring, and in English, focus on nutrients. And we have made about 70,000 farm visits since 2001. So that's about in one generation, 25 years. And that had costed about 1 billion Swedish crowns, and it has been financed totally by CAP. So that has also been contributing to sustainable food production, including cleaner water. But I think that we should combine these two working methods, on-farm advisory service and the catchment advisor. And they are often working in the same area, but they have to get to know each other much better. And if that happens, we can actually say that we have invented a new way of working more effective with these questions, rather than having two parallel but good individual projects. And finally, wetlands are like, I don't know how to say, everybody likes wetlands, and so do I. I've made an own of my own farm in the west of Sweden, but it's almost been like a hype for wetlands. We must not forget that there are other effective measures also, and wetlands are nice because you can take picture afterwards and show to the taxpayers, this is what you got for your money, and everybody's happy. But maybe there are also other measures that are as effective but not like photogenic. So that's something we have to remind us in our everyday Swedish work. So that's my last slide. I hope this was not too short. So I'll happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. We catched up on the schedule nicely. So if anybody has questions, now go ahead. I just wanted to say that it was really interesting that you came up that how the amount of catchment officers has been increasing, and now you think that you need even more. So kind of this bottom-up approach is what is really needed and what is working also. Probably that's the direction that we need to be moving towards. But thank you, Markus. If there are no questions, then we can move to Kai.
Okay, good afternoon from Espoo, Finland, and nice to see you, so many here, and also colleagues that I've been working with, also in Water Drive. Let me share my presentation here. Okay, hopefully you see it. Yes, hello everyone. So my name is Kai Granholm. I work currently already for 7 years at the Baltic Sea Action Group, a Finnish private non-profit foundation that works for the Baltic Sea and sustainable societies around it. We've been focusing on agriculture all these 15 years that we've existed, and in addition we also work in marine protection and maritime logistics and circular solutions, and increasingly also in policy and advocacy. But why I'm presenting today is because maybe because I have a background in initiating the water drive project in scope of the earlier work in agri-environment issues around the Baltic Sea, and this work has or was led at that time by Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences that have really invested a lot of effort in bringing us all together around the Baltic Sea to develop solutions for agriculture environment in collaboration. And greetings and thanks also to Staffan Lund for this work, and also for inspiring the content of this presentation. So this I should have probably been the first presenter today, because this kind of introduces the idea and inspiration that you have now implemented, and what your examples and projects exemplify. So this takes it back a bit, and also it takes it at the general level. But I'm also happy to see that your examples, your conclusions also validate our experiences and findings and recommendations from this water drive work. So in that way, it's a real nice link. I will be brief here, so I'm really looking forward to the discussion and to the further presentations this afternoon. So I'll take this brief. So the background to the water drive is in understanding that if we want to reduce nutrient losses from farmland, we need to understand that each context, each site is different. The measures need to be adapted and fitted for each field, each situation. We also understand that the losses do not come from similarly from all areas, but they are concentrated in certain hotspots and concentrated also in time. So which even makes it even more complicated. And also the scale that we need to apply measures for nutrient reduction is so big that we have had problems reaching and scaling it that big with our existing policy measures and incentive measures. Also, we understand that water is a factor for productivity, as you have already mentioned, and increasingly with climate change, just like Markus also mentioned, we have the possibility to address the nutrient leakages and climate change adaptation with the same measures. So this was the idea. It was the idea to connect the local level problems with the societal or policy problems, and move into more holistic and synergistic approaches to address these. Here's just briefly about the consortium. We worked all across the Baltic Sea, different actors in the agri environment community were involved, advisors, authorities, research, and as an outcome, there are still the website is still available for you to go and take a look at the tools and the cases that we covered. Here's just an example of what Water Drive did in Poland. We have a quite intensive and dedicated team in Poland that were also able to connect with the local municipality and farmers associations, and initiated collaboration between the municipality and farmers to address drought problems in agriculture with water-related, drainage-related measures. And this also included funding mechanisms and joint platforms for coordination. And I'm really looking forward to now opportunities to check back on how this has developed and how possibly this has scaled across Poland, this approach. But overall, so some of the findings and conclusions about local water work. We thought, and now you see that you have validated the conclusions, is that they can be effective in solving problems, but it takes time to build this trust and collaboration. And for that, because it's expensive and you can not have the catchment coordinator in all catchments, you should probably focus on the areas where the need is the biggest, where the conflicts are really affecting people, and also embrace and target multiple objectives. And this, in order to implement this, we of course need innovation in both technical tools and as well as methods, and new forms of governance, which I think are now emerging through these projects. So Water Drive was already from the beginning coordinated or linked with the work at the policy level, most primarily within HELCOM. The issue was already raised in the ministerial decision in 2013 that we should move to work more at the catchment and landscape scales regarding water management, and because of climate change impact and all this. And then the revised Baltic Sea Action Plan from 2021 includes an action for innovative water management. And the findings of Water Drive project and the conclusions and the final report were discussed in HELCOM, and then the countries jointly saw the value of that work and decided to use that work and those conclusions for a specific policy brief jointly agreed on by the Baltic Sea countries. And here are some of the, of course, each country has its own context, and there are differences how how countries prioritize, for example, measures on nitrogen and phosphorus due to both policy and environment context. And also differences are how much countries integrate these kind of water management measures in the CAP agricultural support schemes and the rural development plans. But all in all, then the HELCOM policy brief introduces here are 10 solutions for countries to collaborate on, and also for administrations to act on. And we will not go through these individually just to save time. But as I see from what's been discussed and presented already, I think they already quite well implement the solutions that the countries consider important in this for this topic. But still, we are not yet there. And thank you also to Elsie for maintaining our attention on this topic and encouraging collaboration within the Baltic Sea strategy. So there is still a lot we can do. We can support, of course, HELCOM to achieve the Baltic Sea Action Plan objectives. There is a specific indicator regarding this that calls for some policy and support measures to be in place by 2030. But there are also other things, other policy frameworks, other objectives that can motivate this action. For some countries, it could be relevant to consider how we can even more bring the Water Framework Directive implementation and CAP implementation in synergy, at least in the high risk areas. Climate adaptation, climate resilience, and what kind of measures that would require at the regional level and municipal level is also something that links with this and can add the value for this kind of work. So I think we are not yet there. We still need to bring in different sectors more together on this topic, because what we've seen now, that water can really be the element that connects sectors. For example, in Finland, we have increasingly we are discussing water issues in forestry. So the forestry sector is experiencing issues and also public pressure related to water, and also water availability for productivity. So this is especially in countries where forestry is an important sector, that should definitely be connected at this catchment scale management. And perhaps if we would choose some areas to work more on, I've picked here two. So tools and data for adding for increasing our possibilities for real information-based decisions. Real science-based decisions is certainly some area that needs further development, and data also links to financing. We talked about how the food industry can incentivize actions, and they need data to prove the financial value different measures. And then governance overall, financing needs were also mentioned here, but all together, how we can use the different levels of governance and have real good public-private collaboration here is certainly something that we can investigate and learn more from each other. So I leave it at that. And as I said, the website is still open, so you're welcome to visit. And I take the opportunity here to once more thank everyone that has been involved in Water Drive and continues to be involved in water management collaboration. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think it's a really nice reminder that how much has happened in few years, actually. It's not that long ago. Water Drive was running and now the policies are getting implemented in really good speed. Any questions? And not at this stage, I think. So we have final presentation before the break by Petri Nissinen.
Yeah, hello everyone. May I just start sharing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I will be talking about the Finnish roadmap to catchment-based planning. Previously today, you have already heard the presentation by Mari Lappalainen, who's working also in the same field, and actually some of the slides are courtesy of Mari. Thanks for her about that. But yeah, my point of view is more to the governance, which we already heard in the previous presentations that is of importance. If I start with a little bit of a timeline, the improving the state of waters and the Baltic Seas, of course, has been a long time focus in Finnish politics. And I have some few past years here when additional resources have been allocated to this topic and to these kind of holistic approaches to the water, improving the state of waters. In 2019, the government launched a new program to boost the water protection efforts. By that time, there was a 45 million euro additional funding, and it was common across two ministries, the Ministry of the Environment and the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, which I currently represent. And there were funding schemes for different kind of projects and pilots. There was this kind of a guideline and a work program for water management in agriculture and forestry, as well as a project group was established to steer and implement this work. Okay, in 2023, there was a new government program which continued this focus on water protection, and there was a special focus on Archipelago Sea. And then in 2024, this roadmap for catchment-based planning was published, and most currently, a new steering group will be established within a few weeks to ensure the continuation of this work. So it's a long path, and it's not coming to an end. It's just on the midway. You have seen these kind of pictures before. In recent years, the focus has shifted from restoration within the water bodies to reducing the loading from the catchment. Of course, it's simple. You cannot fix the waters by actions just within the water body. And of course, it's what makes it more difficult. It requires collaboration among stakeholders within the catchment areas where we all live and do our work. On the other hand, it's also possible to gain multiple benefits from these actions. For instance, we can potentially, while aiming to the good status of waters, also improve, for instance, the flood and drought risk management, reduce the emissions, improve our carbon storage, restore the nature and declining biodiversity. And there are some examples of the concrete actions which always need, of course, a good coordination, where these are most feasible and needed and most efficient also. We have a strong focus on cost effectiveness as well. Okay, the roadmap itself has 3 areas of work. Each of them targets certain type of bottlenecks or challenges. First of all, the coordination. There has to be some kind of coordinating actor. We have already heard about catchment officers. This is an important bottleneck. In many times there is not one organization which would be responsible for this, and of course the planning has to be based on the local needs and conditions, and we cannot really cover every single piece of catchment areas, but start from where it is needed and beneficial for the actors as well. Okay, second part is the knowledge. There's need, the competence related to this catchment area planning and sustainable water management varies a lot across stakeholders. Also using the tools like assessment planning tools and spatial data and others, they have been developed, but they are not necessarily used or useful for all users. And also there is a need for more information on certain methods and especially the cost effectiveness. Thirdly, there is the policy instruments. Often the funding schemes are sector specific or target certain points. They do not typically encourage implementation of kind of multi-objective measures. So some actions, what we are aiming at are the coordination. There are some examples of these. There have been experiments and good practice on the coordination side, also the water vision strategies, and we have had calls for grant applications in past government period. There were 52 projects, and at the moment we are compiling a synthesis report which aims to increase the cost effectiveness of these activities. On the knowledge side, we have published many guides and other publications. There has been this kind of a water expertise development program for government experts. There's been trainings on catchment-based water management as well, for instance, on the catchment planning. And of course, we have had also expert resources available at the government. And also we have funded research projects. Some points on the steering mechanisms. The main steering mechanism, of course, is the water management and marine environment planning system pursuant to Water Framework Directive. But within the roadmap, we aim to boost the implementation, and we have additional mechanisms. Also, for instance, the funding scheme for private forestry, which incentivizes like common planning with multiple actors within the catchment areas. For private sector, we have this water stewardship commitment, which promotes responsible water management practices within the companies. And there are also certain pilots on results-based funding. For instance, a tendering pilot for rewetting the peatland fields, and most recently, the Ministry of the Environment is planning this kind of a pilot on decreasing the phosphorus value on the fields in the Archipelago Sea area, and this is currently under preparation. And one very good piece of news is that for boosting the implementation, we are preparing the agreement for this new LIFE project, which would cover 8 years and has a budget of 25 million euro, and it has a pretty large consortium. It includes these 2 ministries and research and government organizations as well as NGOs. And well, this is a nationwide project, and however, there are 5 demo areas which offer platforms for this catchment-based implementation. And there is strong focus on cooperation across sectors, as well as the source-to-sea approach and the steering mechanisms. And we aim also to mobilize complementary funding so that we could do more implementation on other regions as well. Okay, and some final views towards the future. I didn't talk about nature restoration before, but I think it's an opportunity to combine multiple benefits while complying with the requirements of the nature restoration law. And especially in Finland, the restoration of waters is a very significant part of restoration efforts. And therefore, the catchment planning is an important tool in this work. Okay, as I mentioned, AquaLife gives a boost to the implementation in next 8 years. We are developing and searching for new ways to finance the activities. I didn't mention the cap. Of course, it's one of the ways, and we have to try to do the most of it, as well as the national programs, for instance, the forestry one, and then these kind of new and learning from the experiences and improving the cost effectiveness, as well as these new water stewardship and results-based funding. And finally, as we want to ensure the continuation of the work, we will be starting this new steering group shortly, and it will be taking care of the implementation of the work plan we are talking about. Yeah, I thought of putting some text or slogan here, but I think the picture has it all. So the waters are worth the action. That's what I think. And with that, I thank you a lot for listening. If there are any questions, please be welcome.
Thank you a lot. So any questions? Mats, go ahead.
Hello. Thank you very much, Petri. And this is very interesting. And I do see the need to connect the work on national level in between our countries, also expressed by Kai earlier, to have this also learning on the national policy and governance. And there's a lot of things that we can learn of and we would like to learn more about in Sweden, I'm sure. And just the question is, will this new steering group on national level for catchment-based water management, where do you see the most challenges? What silos or parts of existing governance and funding and policy that are the most difficult to break the silos in between?
Yeah, thanks for first of all a very good proposal to have discussion between the countries. I really much like the idea, and let's be in touch on that. And regarding question, I think about the challenges, of course. Well, I think at the moment we are facing a large challenge regarding the funding we have had, like additional funding for a certain time, and of course we are trying to keep that up, but we have to find new ways in that, and also find ways to improve the cost effectiveness and how to measure the effect. Those are some of the main challenges, and how to ensure and make it sustainable in the long term, so that we are not based on programs or short-term funding. So that, yeah, I think at the moment we have to kind of try to find the different, or the solutions from different ways. So we have to promote the private sector side, as well as make the most of CAP and other funding mechanisms. So yeah, I think it's a combination of all these.
Complex topic and probably requires a set of solutions instead of just a few. If there are no more questions, I think we can take the break now. So we will be back at 3 o'clock Eastern time, 2 o'clock Central European time. So 10 minutes more or less, and then we can continue. Thank you for the speakers that have been this far.